standard.
Yeah.
Electricity could go out,
That's
water's
SOP.
conducted, so it's just, you have to wait 30 minutes after you hear thunder or lightning.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last thing, just to wrap up my report, the Labor Day Parade will be September 4th. And we do have an entry in the parade, so whichever commissioners, hopefully everyone can attend, and trying to figure out which, we've always used the People Mover in the past that the commissioners, I think, sat on. I think that People Mover is down, correct, Rich? It's on. Yeah, it's out of commission, so we'll figure out something for you guys to be able to ride. And, but if you can just let us know, if you plan to attend and would like to participate in the parade. Okay, and we're thinking about having, staff kind of walk behind the commissioners and maybe hand out candy and stuff like that to have a good presence, as this is the first year back, really, after COVID, that the City Events Commission is putting on the parade. Okay.
All right.
So
sounds good.
that is it for my report.
All right. All right, now I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing ordinance 904 2023-2024 budget and appropriation ordinance.
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett?
Aye.
President Hart?
Aye. Any questions? Anybody have anything?
I don't have details, so I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do, as just a legal requirement, we put our budget and appropriation ordinance online for public inspection, and it has to be online for public inspection for 30 days prior to its adoption.
And where is it online at?
So it's online both on our website and also available here at the front desk at the Park District if anyone wanted to view a paper copy.
Okay. All right. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing of ordinance 904 2023-2024 budget and appropriation ordinance.
So moved.
So move. I have a second. All right. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett?
Aye.
President Hart?
Aye. Okay. I will entertain a motion to adopt of ordinance 904 2023-2024 budget and appropriation ordinance.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
I second. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett?
Aye.
President Hart?
Aye. All right. Next on is the request to add floating holiday and updated policy.
Mm-hmm. So I've included in the packet our current paid time off policy with an additional small section that's requesting how the floating holiday would work if it was approved by the board. So the Park District currently has paid time off for sick and vacation time, along with set holidays such as Christmas and Thanksgiving, and full-time staff also get one personal day. So this request would be to add a floating holiday that would work similar to the personal day, to where it's just one day per fiscal year. The time doesn't accrue. It doesn't get paid out if people leave. But again, it's just in recognition of our diverse staff, and the fact that people may want to celebrate some of these federal holidays or other important days that we don't have off, that the Park District doesn't offer off, but may be important to some people, whether it's a Juneteenth or a Mexican Independence Day or Martin Luther King Day or President's Day, Veterans Day, some of these other federal holidays are just important days, that may be important to staff.
And my only question would be, do you have a limit of how many that, like, if everybody's taking off the same day? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you have a limit of the amount of people?
Of how many people?
Yeah.
We don't have a limit for staff. I mean, my thought would be we would just kind of be be as accommodating as possible within departments, and with managers.
Yeah.
Just any other requested day off. You would manage it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
And it would start next fiscal year, so it would start May
next year. Okay. All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the request for added floating holiday with updated policy.
So moved.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
I have a second. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett?
Aye.
President Hart?
Aye. Okay, now the quote for the updated fire sprinklers at the
Mhm.
leisure center.
So Superintendent Churchirillo met with Century Automatic Sprinkler at the Leisure Center here to assess our fire sprinkler systems. At that time, he was, informed that many of the sprinkler heads are compromised and should be replaced, whether it's just, corrosion on the heads or signs of leakage, or, some of the heads may have been painted, inadvertently over time, which, Rich explained to me really kind of puts if there's paint on it, obviously, right, puts a buffer in there from the actual heat reaching the sensor and firing the sprinkler. So the representative's recommendation is that we replace all the sprinkler heads in the Shiloh Center, in the Leisure Center, in accordance with the quote here, and the quote was, Rich, help me with that, it's like 11,000.
Yes,
10,149.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Rich, if there's anything you wanted to add to that, because you were really, the one walking around.
Yeah, so basically, the work would consist of replacing basically all the sprinklers in the whole building. Bring them up to date because a lot of them are expired. Believe it or not, there's a little date on them, and you can't really tell by really looking at it, just walking by, but there's a little date scribed in there, and after so many years, they're expired. The contractor recommends we replace, bring them up to code, and then we're going to increase a couple of locations where they don't have sprinkler coverage, and we're going to install that.
So there's
It's a
coverage
fire
throughout the whole building.
Correct. Yeah, there's a
Okay.
few storage areas that don't have it. They recommend we do it for fire code reasons.
Is there any way to prevent the painting issue? Like,
Yeah, you cover them up, during something like that again. Like out here, everything was sprayed. Nobody thought to cover it, and everything got covered. Nobody thought to cover the actual head, and everything
Right.
got sprayed. So,
so moving forward, that'll be something you guys.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Wait.
Go ahead, Jess.
How are you not putting new ones in? Don't you get with the wall out to come?
are you talking about where we're adding some?
Yeah.
So, the areas where we'd be adding them, no. There's not like major destruction getting done. It's
Okay.
adding some pipe work and suspension, and that's it. Nothing major. But in this day's contract labors, nothing's cheap.
No.
Yeah.
No, those days are over.
Yeah. So that's
Anything else? Okay, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the quote to update the fire sprinklers at the leisure center.
I'll make a motion to approve the Century Automatic Sprinkler Company Incorporated price of $10,149 for the installation and update of the sprinkler system.
Second.
I have a second. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner McGarrett,
Aye.
President Harden.
Aye. Okay, quote to continue to work on an Edina Trail from the 21st Street to the 17th Street.
Yeah, so as we know, the Edina Trail bicycle trail has been under construction for some time. That was part of an IDNR bicycle grant. The contractor working out there is Landworks. Hitchcock has been also overseeing the project. The project was bid and approved by the board right before the work started. There was an alternate bid at that time that we denied. So that alternate bid was the trail section that goes from 21st to 17th Street. And we had denied it at that time just because cost was so expensive on the project. Right now, cost is still expensive, but I think there's some things that have changed, like with our finances, that'll allow us to continue that work. I would recommend that we just kind of continue it and complete the project. One of the pieces of information that we didn't have at the time when the initial bid was presented and the alternate was denied was, for example, Kay got the grant from Lake County for the transition work in the amount of $71,000 to do the concrete transitions, right?
Ramps.
For
The
ADA
ramps for the
access.
ADA
Yeah.
access kind of from street to trail, right? So that was a new development along the way that kind of provided some additional funding to help out with the project. Another thing as well as to get the permits and to get everything in place to actually do that work out there has been very difficult with some of the blanding turtle and the long-eared bats and some of the different animals that the contractor has to be aware of when he's working down there because it's so close to the lakefront. And we have to get permitting through stormwater management, Lake County Corps of Army Corps of Engineers, the Department of Natural Resources, the Lake County erosion control people, and those permits are very hard to get. They can be a little costly. They're very time consuming and very hard to get. So my fear would be that if we would kind of stop the project here, I don't know what our capacity would be to start it up again, in the future, right? So it's kind of like strike while the iron's hot, and just kind of finish the project. Additionally, kind of the last thing that I think makes that financially feasible for us to pick up at this time is the development within the recent months of the nuclear impact funding from the state of Illinois, right? And the way that grant works is it's a reimbursing grant. So we didn't know as it was developing if the state would just be giving us those funds and how that was going to work, but it turned out to be more of like a true reimbursing grant where we have to expend the funds and then provide receipts to the state and then they refund us. Right. So unfortunately, that grant window started on July 1st, just based on how the state set it up on it. So some of the payments that we made on Edina Trail and some of these other things are not eligible for it. And again, we didn't budget for any of that money. We didn't know it was coming. But I think this would be one good use for it.
How much money is available to us?
So our allocation's $897,000
to use up in a certain time
for
frame?
This year.
Just for
July
fiscal
1st.
year?
Yes,
Or
fiscal
The
year.
state's fiscal year, July 1st to June 30th.
okay.
Right.
And if we don't use it up, it's just gone?
Well, essentially, there's so many unknowns on that's how we're gonna anticipate. They're not gonna give it to us.
So can some of that be used for the maintenance building?
Yes.
Okay.
So we submitted to the state when Kay and I were working on the grant. Kay did a lot of the heavy lifting, and as far as the expenditures that we anticipating to be submitted to them was like the maintenance building, Shiloh Park, some equipment and things like that. So we probably submitted almost $2 million worth of expenditures that are in our budget already, right? So that would not be above and beyond. But the timing of some of those are unknown, right? We don't know. I don't anticipate how much of the maintenance building we'll actually get through by the end of the state's fiscal year. So, again, that was my recommendation, is that we just kind of really continue this project, finish it off. I think the contractor's very capable and they're doing a good job. We have good partners in place. We have all the permits in place.
So as of this will be complete?
Yes.
It will be complete with the exception of the small area that nobody can confirm whose property it is. So that small area that goes from Sheridan Road over by 33rd Street
Okay.
on the far south side of town. That's why that section was left off of the grant initially, because when you apply for the grant, you have to show ownership of the property, right? But nobody could confirm if it was owned by the city, by the park district, by like the businesses in that area. So that part is not done. So to answer your question maybe a different way is like the property that's ours will be complete.
Okay.
I'm done saying this. Nobody knows who property that is.
No, I mean, Marilyn and probably Kay was really involved in that too, probably two and a half years ago when that grant was submitted. It was just left off of the grant submission because we weren't able to confirm who owned it.
Wow. That's
Now,
just absolutely amazing.
How much?
It's not a lot.
So
It's
if you
not
hear, I just want the board to be aware if you hear.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know the
It's
strip
not
that
even
goes
300
straight.
feet.
Right.
It's basically an entrance.
It's unknown.
So it's-
property.
Yeah.
I will.
If you're familiar with like the Ophir Sled Hill type thing,
Yes.
if you look right across Sheridan Road, that little bit of pavement right there, the trail,
Yeah.
that's it.
It's not a lot.
That's it. Yeah, it's not. It's
Everything
not
that
very
runs
much.
north and south that is ours
I-
will be done
I.
with this.
Oh.
Well, if it was utilized just by common use, who knows who owned it?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, if anybody owns it,
Right, right.
because I mean,
It's
that's the history.
it's behind
Exactly.
houses.
It's the
and
history of
stuff.
Zion, you know, certain things are just common use and.
Whether
Nobody-
it's the
Nobody raised their raise.
Yeah.
shopping mall area there, they might own, I mean, no one could figure out who owned it.
Yeah.
We tried.
So,
The city has a hard enough time figuring out who some of these missing landlords are.
Yeah.
To get anything done.
Right.
For a strip of what? 5, 10 feet?
less than
maybe?
300
No, it's a
feet.
little 300-ish or something.
Okay, I mean.
Yeah.
So even that's a, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I know this is kind of like a new development, or just.
I mean, really, there's no questions to be asked because,
yeah.
you know, there's nothing, we could sit here all night and discuss it and ain't gonna get anywhere.
Why you
So-
should digit
They do what?
the 300 yard
Feet.
Do what with it?
just put it, fix it.
Well, you know, I mean, at some point, once the whole trail is going to be done, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be worth at
Yeah.
that point really
Yeah.
digging into like who owns this and
Yeah.
can we just somehow get a legal contract
But-
that says the park district can.
But if you haven't even
develop
come
it.
to the decision on who owns it
Right.
in this many years, what
We-
makes you think it's gonna happen after we get the whole trail done?
Right,
Well-
and if you take responsibility for it, you're putting yourself out there for liability.
a liability for
Yep,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, but I just want
Too
to
many what ifs.
here. Why didn't they do that section?
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the quote to continue the work on Identa Trail from 21st Street to 17th Street.
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Eric, or excuse me, Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye,
I
Commissioner McGarrett.
Aye.
President Harden.
Aye. And we're gonna go to executive session?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'll make a motion to go to executive session for the purpose of the board discussing employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Illinois Open Meeting Act.
I have a second.
second.
All right, I have a second. Kay, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye,
I
Commissioner McGarrett.
Aye.
President Harden.
All right, got through that one.
All right.